So in a perfect world, I'd be welcoming Tracy Peterson-Wertenen up here to give the financial report. She's our Chief Financial Officer, but COVID threw us another curveball. So Tracy's living through a mandatory COVID quarantine. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is I was able to find a last-minute replacement for her. The bad news is it's me. So it's my pleasure now to review financial highlights from the past year, as well as take a brief look at the year ahead. Our annual independent audit was performed by Brady Martz and Associates out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Happy to report that Lake Country Power once again received a clean opinion of our annual review of our accounting procedures and practices. Brady Martz affirmed we're in full compliance with our loan covenants and financial requirements set by our primary lender, the Rural Utility Service, or RUS. You may remember that as the REA if you've been around a while. That's the RUS now. It operates under the U.S. Department of Agriculture. As we all experienced, 2021 continued with COVID-related challenges. Lake Country Power continues to do all we can to keep our employees healthy, as well as maintaining our fiscal and financial health through it all, with you, our members, front of mind. I'd like to take a few minutes to share an overview of our 2021 financial results. Operating revenues were $95.6 million, about $6 million increase from 2020, which is roughly 6.6%. Weather and new industrial loads were two factors contributing to that increase in sales. Additionally, we recognized $2 million in deferred revenue from dating back to 2018. If you're at our district meetings, we talked about that in pretty good length. We saw a notable increase in our general service kilowatt hour sales over 2020, roughly 9.7% increase in that. That includes everyday electric usage, lighting, appliances, computers, as well as that increased industrial load. And conversely, our demand-side management sales, which include our EnergyWise programs for heating and cooling, they experienced a slight decrease in sales, like 5.35%. As unlikely as it seems right now, we're talking about 2021, and 2021 was an abnormally warm year. I don't think I'll be standing here saying that to you a year from now about 2022. Switching to our expenses for 2021, cost of wholesale power increased $4.5 million in 2021 from 2020. That's almost 10% more. Kilowatt hour purchases and overall cost of electric demand increased last year. Great River Energy, our wholesale power supplier, returned over $3 million to LCP in the form of refunds and excess margin allocations, which helped us offset significant power cost adjustments we experienced throughout 2021. Local operating expenses decreased about $1.4 million in 2021. Included in that is forgiveness of a Paycheck Protection Program loan, or a PPP loan, which had a $2.8 million favorable impact on our local expenses. Lake Country Power continues to do a great job meeting the needs of our members during lingering challenges of the pandemic. We continue to see significant cost increases in needed materials and equipment, as well as unprecedented lead times like I talked about. We're doing all we can to manage those obstacles to ensure we can continue to provide service to our members. Overall cost of electric service was $92.4 million last year. Depreciation of our utility equipment, along with interest expense on infrastructure such as poles, wires, transformers, substations, meters, and other equipment, accounted for $17.5 million of our total cost. Depreciation and interest will remain a large and constant source of expense from year to year, and it represents our direct ownership costs of the electric distribution system. LCP's geographic service territory is one of the largest in the country. And as you know, we have an abundance of natural beauty up here in northern Minnesota. But that natural beauty creates challenges when it comes to maintaining our expansive distribution system, which in turn has a direct bearing on our annual operation and maintenance expenses. Our IVM program, or Integrated Vegetation Management, our right-of-way clearing program, accounted for $5.2 million of our 2021 expenses. So we spent $5.2 million just clearing trees last year. These investments in IVM are having a positive impact on our outage metrics, and I showed you those graphs a little bit ago. We received a lot of positive comments from our members in our recent district meetings about how these efforts have improved outages. We'll continue to work to improve reliability and service for all our members. Capital credits are unique to cooperatives and represent your share of ownership in Lake Country Power. In 2021, we paid back $5.6 million in member equity through capital credit retirements. $2.5 million was from LCP's regular retirement, and $2.1 million was from Great River Energy's, our wholesale supplier, and retirement from them. All active members received a credit on their December bill statement. The remaining $1 million was retired as discounted retirements to member estates. Overall, we closed 2021 with a $9.2 million margin. This was favorable to budget, largely due to the PPP loan forgiveness I mentioned for both LCP and our former subsidiary companies. That loan forgiveness wasn't budgeted because at the time we do a budgeting, that wasn't certain we were going to get granted that forgiveness, as well as greater than anticipated allocation of GRE's margin for 2021. As we look into this year ahead, challenges remain, but we continue to remain optimistic. Material and construction costs are going to continue to have a pretty significant impact on what we do, with no indications that that's going to change anytime soon. As a result of the supply chain challenges and the significant lead times, we were faced with a difficult decision in 2022 to raise rates. It wasn't a decision we made lightly, nor was it without serious consideration of the impact of you, our members. March 1st, our general service, residential, and commercial rates increased 1.67 cents a kilowatt hour. There are also additional changes to our load management, lighting, and commercial rates. These changes were outlined in detail on our February edition of our newsline, and were discussed in a lot of detail at our recent district meetings. You'll start to see these changes on the bills you receive in the month of April. Some of you may have gotten them already, some of them are still yet to come, but it took effect for the March kilowatt hour usage. Our 2022 budget reflects our priorities. We're projecting operating revenues of $100.7 million on just over 647 million kilowatt hour sales. Forecasting slightly positive kilowatt hour sales growth, largely due to projected increase in industrial load. This year's budget also mirrors how we're looking out for you, our members, the co-op community, and the local communities we serve. Before closing, I want to remind members about our load management and rebate programs. Lake Country Power offers desirable rates for energy-wise heating and cooling. Rates include water heating, dual fuel electric heating, cycled or interruptible air conditioning, electric thermal storage space heating, and off-peak electric vehicle charging. Coupled with, in addition to these programs, we offer a variety of rebates and incentives for our members. From Energy Star lighting and appliances, to significant heating and cooling incentives, these rebates are designed to help you save money and energy. You can find more financial and rate-related information, as well as the information on our programs and our rebates on our website, lakecountrypower.coop. As always, we're just a phone call away as well.